For the Waveney Valley, back with Rochford and Cuddly Toy, and joining me in the studio very soon, gentleman who plays the guitar. I was going to be rude and say banjo, actually, as I said to him a few minutes ago, just for a cheap laugh, but he's actually a well-known guitar player who's kind of performed in top venues all around the years for many years. His name is Kevin Dean, and he's a rat. Now, if you think you recognise the sound of this gentleman's guitar, you're absolutely right. It's very much a Hank Marvin type sound, isn't it? And it's time for me to welcome to the studio Kevin Dean. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Hi, Paul. I'm very good, thank you.
That's great. Well, welcome to the studio. I've been making quite a big thing of the fact that you are, in fact, a rat.
I am a water rat.
A water rat.
Water
Part
rat.
of the Grand Order of Rats. Along with such luminaries as Mike Batts, Alfie Boe, Joe Brown, Michael Crawford, and Ross King off the old television as well.
Yeah, Ross King, and plenty of past rats. Tommy Cooper, Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, of course Brian May is a rat. Yeah, so there's lots of really good names who have been and still are water rats around the world.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful, actually, I must say. Do you get to meet these guys when you go and meet, and what does a water rat do? Do you go and kind of swim around somewhere or what?
Well, essentially it's a fraternity, a charity,
Yeah.
and we raise funds for essentially people in the business who fell on hard times, actors, comedians, musicians, who have, through health reasons or just can't pay bills and do things. So it's set up in 1889 for that reason.
Radio presenters?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you haven't got to be a water rat to be helped by the water rats.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we sort of span out in show business in general. Alan Freeman was a water rat.
Really?
Fluff, yeah.
Is it a bit like the licensed victuallers then? I don't know if they still exist actually, but they used to look after publicans who similarly had kind of fallen on hard times. You concentrate on the entertainers, obviously.
Yeah, the entertainment world. But we have, I mean, not just actors, comedians, musicians. We have, I mean, the Hairy Bikers are water rats, but they're in show business. They've got their TV shows, haven't they? You see, the Hairy Bikers. So to answer your question, do I meet? Yes, all the while. Which we have a lodge. You say, do we meet? Do I meet these people? We're in lodge together. So we had a lodge Sunday evening, for example, and you get. I mean, obviously, I'm not a famous water rat, but a mixture of the non-famous water rats and the famous water rats. We all get together. Not everyone's there at the same time. You might get 30, 40 people in lodge. Some notable ones from this Sunday. Fraser Hines was there.
Yeah,
you know, Fraser.
Yeah.
The actor Ross Lee, and I mean, it's just like a really good social thing as well. We get together.
And how did you get involved in it? Did you kind of ask to become involved, or you invited?
You become asked. Yeah, it's quite a difficult. I'm really honoured. It's quite a difficult thing to be part of, and because there's no more than 180 members at any one time in the world, and 20 companion rats. Companions are the people who are not entertainers, but royalty or lords. Or big business people who make a difference to the order. So there's 20 of those companions, and never more than 180 actual water rats.
Okay.
I think there's about 150 at the moment. It hasn't got to be 180.
No.
So yeah, you get asked, and you're proposed. You get a proposer and a seconder. I was proposed by Chas McDivitt. I don't know if you remember Chas McDivitt, Freight Train, skiffle artist from the late 50s. Freight train. Going so fast.
I know that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Not from 1950. It has to be said.
Well, no, you're too young to remember that. But
thank you.
And that's probably the only time you'll hear me sing on the radio as well. So yeah, Chas proposed me, and I passed a ballot. And they vote on candidates, and it's 2015 when I first became a water rat.
You were a guitarist, weren't you? Or you are
still am.
a guitarist,
Yeah.
Your Your sound very much akin to Hank Marvin and the like. How did you choose that style of music?
Well, I mean, that number you played was Foot Tapper by the Shadows, and I'm not obsessed. I'm not obsessed by sounding like Hank, but my act is guitar instrumentalist. So the Shadows, Burt Weedon, the Ventures, the Fentones, Duane Eddy, the Tornadoes, all these kind of classic sounds that we've been brought up with since the late 50s. So although I don't consciously aim to get a sound like Hank, but having that kind of guitar, the Fender Stratocaster, going through like an echo chamber, you do get that sound. But I like to think that I perhaps put my own stance on it. So yeah, I'm not a Shadows tribute. I don't play all Shadows, but I'll do a mixture. The Sputniks, you know, all those instrumental acts.
Lots of memories in there, and it's interesting how many guitarists actually play Fender Stratocasters and make a big thing of it. I interviewed Dave Phillips from a tribute band called DS UK recently. It's a Dire Straits tribute band, great band, really good band, and he plays a Fender Stratocaster as well. So I seem to remember years ago entering competitions. This is not a joke, actually. It was on the back of a cornflake packet. And it was to win a Fender Stratocaster all those years ago. Guess what? I didn't win. I've never won anything in my life. Now, you are a collecting rat. How did you get...
I was going to say, I'll update you. Since Sunday, we've got a new King Rat because previous King Rat was Chris Emmett, the actor from the Hudlines. Chris Emmett, June Whitfield, Roy Hudd. Chris was King Rat the last year. Now we have Richard Gauntlet, who's well known, actually, funny enough, is locally, and I'm digressing slightly, but he's at the Theatre Royal often on the pantomime as the Dame. Richard Gauntlet is the new king. Yeah. But just to say what you said about, I was collecting rats for the last 3 years, but I'm now assistant scribe.
And what exactly does that mean? We are digressing here a little, actually, because, of course, you're here to talk about an event that you're organising, I believe.
The show,
A show. But just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the scribe rat... I'm the assistant scribe. Scribe rat reads the minutes in lodge and do various things to do. Quite a big office, the scribe. And I'm the assistant to the scribe, so I take note, bit like a register of the attendees, the rats who are there, people who have sent in their regrets and different things like that. Collecting rats did take the donations and fines. If someone gets fined in lodge for saying the wrong thing, I shan't go into too much detail. But yeah, there's certain things that happen.
I would be no good in the water rats, the Grand Order of Water Rats. Now, tell us what you're here really to talk about, because it's all happening on the 4th of February, isn't it?
Yes.
At St George's Theatre, lovely old theatre in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah, we're putting on a fundraising show, a variety show. It's called Charity Variety Spectacular, and it's a big bill. We've got a lot of people on there. I've actually just got out a list because there is, even though I know everybody on the bill, there's still a lot to remember, and if I didn't have the list, I'd probably forget somebody. So, yeah, it's a variety show, 4th of Feb, as you say, St George's Theatre in Great Yarmouth. Do you want me to reel out the bill? Who's on?
Yeah, you carry on.
Well, we have the one and only, legendary rock legend Rick Wakeman, who was quite local, wasn't he?
He used to live just up the road.
Yeah.
But he doesn't anymore.
He's recently moved, yeah. So Rick's on the show, and I've worked with Rick before on these Water Rat shows, and he does brilliant solo. When he played, he was in the band Yes, and also amongst endless things, he well known for playing on David Bowie's Hunky Dory album, the piano and keyboard, and he does a fantastic instrumental rendition of The Life on Mars.
I've got to tell you something. When we first moved to Harleston, which now was about 15 years ago, Rick Wakeman, who lived just behind the church and knew the then Reverend of the church, Trev the Rev, he used to call him, actually organised a charity event in 7 churches around the Waveney Valley. And this, bear in mind, we've just moved to Harleston and we get tickets to go and see Rick Wakeman play in the church at Skoll, which was just amazing.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
And I thought, I've died and gone to heaven. I've found Harleston and I'm listening to Rick Wakeman in a church. So that in itself is a real draw, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Rick will be there. Steve Hewlett is a ventriloquist, one of the top ventriloquists in the world. He was a finalist on Britain's Got Talent a few years ago, although he was well established before that. But some people go on these TV shows, great exposure. So Steve is a good friend who will be doing a spot. Ross Lee is quite a new rat, friend of mine. Ross Lee, what can you say about Ross Lee? Well, if you look him up, he's had several of his own series on BBC. He was known for the Pranker, BBC hidden camera show, a bit like Trigger Happy TV or Candid Camera. Amazing, very funny to look up, the hidden cameras wind-up things here. Just finished a Hollywood movie called The Bubble, a John Apatow film, big director, and it is fantastic. Kevin Dean's on, that's me. Mark Porter, vocalist from the Glenn Miller Band. Real class act. I mean, he's a name in his own right from the Mark Porter Band, but he does, when the Glenn Miller Band goes out now, obviously Glenn passed many years ago, but
Yeah.
he is the vocalist.
Okay.
And so a very respected,
Actually,
big
they're,
band.
they're playing at the Apex, I believe, in
Yeah?
Bury St Edmunds
Ah,
fairly
right.
soon. So you might see him there as
Yeah,
well.
he,
but,
he appears at all the big venues.
Yeah.
Rolo, Sean Rollerson, is a Norfolk boy from up Heacham Way. All round entertainer, he does everything, comedy, juggler. He compared the show we did in Devisors, a similar show back in November. Steve Barclay, a real good all-round variety act, very funny man. I mean, he's got a great variety of different things, he's got everything on here. Mike Martin, he's the Scribe Rat, by the way. Mike Martin is comedy songs, acoustic guitar, comedy, very funny indeed. Nina Hewlett, now she's the only non-rat and the only female, because I'll talk about this, because there is, people often say, well, why is it all men? There is a grand order of Lady Ratlins.
Ratlin.
Ratlins, yeah. Vicky Michelle, Barbara Windsor was an Anna Karen. I mean, they passed recently. Not Vicky Michelle, she's still a Lady Ratlin. So we've got Nina, who's doing a spot. She's the wife of Steve Hewlett. She's a vocalist. So she's the non-rat, but a Lady Ratlin. Paul Adams, stand-up comedian, a good, strong, travels the world. In fact, that day, I'm pretty sure he arrives back from Hong Kong. He lands from Hong Kong that morning, because he was saying to me, what time do you want me there? And so he'll be a bit jet lagged, but very good. And finally, Ian Richards, who's comparing the show. He's a real commanding, very respected after-dinner speaker, one of the top UK after-dinner speakers. He's brilliant, very funny indeed. And he's comparing. So, yeah, 11 acts on that show. So we'll all be quite limited to what we can do. If not, it'll go on all night.
So once again, this is taking place at the St George's Theatre in Great Yarmouth, which in itself is a nice place to be, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely. I think it was originally a temple or a church or something years ago. But I think it's only there in the Britannia Pier. That's still going as theatres. Of course, we've got the Hippodrome, which is the circus.
Yeah.
But there used to be the ABC, didn't there? The Royalty, Wellington, Windmill,
Yeah.
all these theatres, but just the St George's and the Britannia.
Okay, so you're going to be there,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a charity variety
Spectacular,
spectacular
yeah.
put on by the Grand Order of Water Rats.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing as well.
Yeah.
And we'll have some more of your music in just a second. And where can people get tickets from?
Well, from the box office, you can you can book online. So St George's, I think it's .com or .co.uk. People can just Google, find the website.
It's stgeorgestheatre.com.
.com,
actually,
yeah. And I think it takes you to a ticket source or something, and you can book. You can pick your seats. And tickets are selling now. It's ramped up over the last few days, and we're hoping to sell out really to raise funds for the order. And so people can book. I think you can also go in there if you're local, or phone up. But I think the best way I'd recommend would be to go on the website and book.
Absolutely,
on there.
yeah. And how are ticket sales going at the moment?
They are going well.
Good.
We're not. I mean, the front stalls have more or less sold out.
Great, good.
The back stalls, it's starting to eat away into that, so it is looking good already. But we would like to sell out, because the tickets are £20, and I think for what you're getting is an incredible bill.
Well, it's certainly a huge bill, there is no doubt. A lot
Yeah.
of well-known people as well, and all involved in this variety act, charity variety spectacular, taking place at St George's Theatre on February the 4th.
7:30 p.m. and you don't very often get these shows anymore. Not a big variety bill like that, like you used to.
No,
so-
for sure. Kevin, it's been great having you on the studio today. I'm sorry you didn't bring your guitar along, but
know.
I'll tell you what, we've got it anyhow recorded, which we'll play for you now. Kevin Dean,
Thanks, Paul.
Grand Order of the Water Rats. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.